Now, if I'm talking to the mic, does it mess up the recording?
The camera will try to track to where the speakers are instead of
My face?
right.
All right.
Can the camera see the podium?
No.
Cannot.
You may have enough height over the monitor.
I've got it blinded. It's not looking that direction at all, so it doesn't pick up any chatter on
No,
there.
it won't.
That's good. Obviously, it's an issue.
All right, folks, we're going to get started. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Randy Burke,
Here.
Commissioner Darren Indovino,
I'm here.
Commissioner King Gaspar.
Here. Okay. Oh. Please stand as you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's go to the first item, consent agenda.
So this item A on the consent agenda is the approval of the minutes from the May 9th regular council meeting, as well as the work sessions from May 23rd and June 4th, as well as the approval of the monthly bills. All four of these items can be approved with one motion if they are deemed to be acceptable, or if there is an item that is desired to be pulled off to be discussed further, you may also approve whichever items you wish, excluding that item so we can discuss that further.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve 1, 2, 3, and 4 of regular business consent agenda.
Second. I have some discussion on this. This is on the 23rd May minutes. It talks about Commissioner Gaspar presented a bill he drafted proposed to move the city from 3 to 5 city commissioners. Does that bill exist?
So
I've never seen it. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, no, that bill has not been formally considered at this point. Commissioner Gaspar had drafted something to basically, I believe, a concept or proposal for the commission to consider, but that has not been formally discussed at this point. If I recall correctly, you had asked to have that placed on the work session agenda so we could discuss that topic. So we discussed that, I believe, in our June 4th work session.
Yeah, normally when you bring stuff in at a public meeting, it becomes public information. In a similar vein, on the 4 June council meeting, I presented a plan. This was to engage and educate the public on forms of government. It's in the minutes, but it is not in the packet. So if we discuss it, we need to have things like that in the packet.
Okay, so you would like to have that included in the minutes as a item that was presented?
Well, what we need to do is if it's public information and we mention the minutes, then it needs to go in the packet. It is public information.
Okay.
Okay. With those two corrections, I don't have any issues with the minutes. Okay, roll call on the consent agenda.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Darren Indovino,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar.
Aye. Okay, next item.
Item B is the second reading and discussion of bill and ordinance number 9008. This is establishing new sanitation service rates. Ms. Irwin, would you please have second reading?
An ordinance establishing new sanitation service rates for the city of Monett.
So this bill, this ordinance that's being proposed is to raise the sanitation service rates by $2.50 per month per cart from a rate for all but senior citizens of $17.50 a month to $20 a month. Senior citizens pay a discounted rate of $2 off that rate. So currently that's $15.50 a month. So that'll go to $18 a month if this bill is approved. This is to be in effect as of July 1st, which will be seen on the August bills. The purpose for this ordinance is that the current sanitation service is the only utility that the city provides that is not currently self-sufficient or not cash flow positive. And so this is to try and make sure that we get the sanitation service to a cash flow positive situation and make sure that we're able to make that a sustainable business entity for the foreseeable future.
Any discussion?
As with all second readings, this is an opportunity for public comment. So if there are any public thoughts on this particular agenda item, we welcome you to come to the podium now.
Yeah, we have a pretty good trash removal system. We need to make up for some of our costs. And remember, we just had the big city haul away. We hauled away 20 tons of stuff. This does not include the regular trash pickup. We go around and we pick up all the debris at the first of the month. I think we all benefit from that and go from $17.50 to $20. I don't think it is that much of a hike for the services that the city gets. Any other comments from out there or from any of the commissioners?
No, we just stand on top of costs. Okay, well, if no comments, I'm going to make a motion that we allow it and pass it.
I'll second. Roll call.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Darren Indovino.
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar.
Aye.
That was bill number 9008.
All right, item C is the second reading and discussion of bill and ordinance number 9013. This is a bill to abolish the current aquatic center sales tax and establish the recently approved parks sales tax. This bill and ordinance is one that will abolish end the current half-cent sales or quarter-cent sales tax, I apologize, that is currently levied to pay off the debt for the outdoor swimming pool by the YMCA. It's the city's pool, and this tax was established years ago to pay for this facility. It was to be retired when the debt is able to be retired. The tax is to go away when the debt's able to be retired. So we're able to pay it off later on this year. The expectation is to be able to pay it off in November. The state of Missouri only allows a tax to end or begin at the beginning and end of a quarter. And so the state's quarters are October, January, etc. So we're going to go ahead and have this end as of the end of September. You have to give the Department of Revenue 90 days notice if you're going to end a tax or begin a tax. So that's why we're going ahead and do this now. And so this will be ending the aquatic center sales tax as of September 30, and the recently approved parks sales tax that'll go towards just general parks operations and improvements will be then in place. It will replace that aquatic center tax for the same exact amount. It was 0.25% that was approved by the voters in April. And so that will become in effect as of October 1st. That will be utilized for the purposes of improving our parks here in the community. I know the city council and the mayor have both have articulated a plan to start having at some point in the near future community meetings on how we allocate those resources. That was something that the council desires to get public input. So with that, the game plan is that the city council will start to hold those public meetings here over the summer and the fall to try and garner community input on where they feel like we should prioritize those parks dollars. As this is a second reading, Angie, could you go ahead and provide that?
An ordinance abolishing the current aquatic center sales tax and establishing the recently approved park sales tax.
Given the explanation, are there any questions, comments from the general public, as this is a second reading?
Question.
Rashawn.
Do you plan to take the additional money that will come in after the tax is retired, but will continue to come in and put that into the general fund?
My expectation would be that we would roll those dollars still into the parks fund. The parks sales tax moving into the future will also be utilized, at least my intention would be, and I would expect the community would support this, but we'll see what the community says, but would be to utilize the new parks tax to maintain the aquatic center. And that is certainly something that we need to do into the future. So my thought process would be that it would make sense to go ahead and retain those dollars that were originally intended for the aquatic center, to still have that roll into the new parks tax fund, and they can still be utilized for that same purpose at one point or another for upkeep on the aquatic center.
We have a motion.
I move that we pass bill number 9013.
I'll second.
Now, this park tax that we voted on will start taking place in November. Is that correct? That's when we start raising the money?
October 1.
October 1. So and it's going to be to the tune of what, $600,000 a month?
No, somewhere between
$600,000 a year. I'm sorry.
somewhere between $500,000 and $600,000 a year.
Okay, so that's why we're going to be getting the input on what we want to do with that money. What do you want to see in your parks? We'll start having public hearings, as Chris mentioned, a little bit later in the summer. Call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Darren Indovino,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar.
Aye.
All right, item D is the second reading and consideration of bill and ordinance number 9014. This is an ordinance prohibiting the planning, property acquisition, and installation of a roundabout intersection at Highway 37, also known as Central Avenue, and Broadway in Monett, Missouri. This is the second reading. Clerk Irwin, can you please read that?
An ordinance of the City of Monett, Missouri prohibiting the planning, property acquisition, and installation of a roundabout intersection at Highway 37, Central Avenue, and Broadway in Monett, Missouri.
This is the ordinance and the bill that was initiated via the petition procedure that I'm sure the majority of you are here this evening to discuss or hear about. This is the second reading for that. There was a first reading that was heard at a work session, the June 4th work session. So we have, obviously, with the second reading, an opportunity for public comment. Mr. Mike Randall has specifically requested to be able to speak, and so as such, we have placed him on the agenda. We, in the interest of time and to try and allow everybody an opportunity who desires to speak, an opportunity to do so, the council has briefly met and discussed this before, that we asked Mr. Randall to limit his time to 15 minutes, and then that there would be an opportunity then for others that would desire to come up to the microphone after him to please come up and state your name and where you're from, and we would have 3 minutes, I believe was what we were talking about, for a time limit to then try and have others who may be interested to speak an opportunity to do so.
How many people would like to speak? Okay, if we could agree to this rule, you speak once and it's 3 minutes enough? Okay. Let's go ahead. Go ahead.
Only 3 people.
Okay.
Mike Randall was one that raised his hand.
So, Mr. Randall, if you are here, if you go ahead and please come up to the podium.
Come to the podium.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knows I can be pretty windy at times, so I'm going to try to keep it brief, so brief as I can. First, I want to thank you all for allowing me to come. I really do appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm primarily here to thank all of the people who signed the initiative petition, and a lot of them are here tonight. Signing the petition for many took true courage. Many people don't like to draw attention to themselves, or they feel ramifications sometimes if they get involved in these sorts of things. And so I hope that the commission appreciates that just signing their signatures for many took real courage. It represents an exercise of the citizens' rights to participate in the process. This is a process that's outlined by the Missouri state statutes and by city ordinances. And so a lot of these citizens exercise their rights to take part in that process. Many in the community participated in this effort, and it was facilitated by many volunteers. A variety of reasons were given for why people signed the petition. Not everybody held the same views, but a lot of different reasons were given. And I have a few examples. One is support for the property owners. Another is concern for the amount of money being spent on the proposed for the project. Some simply don't like roundabouts. Some don't like the proposed location of a roundabout at 37 Highway, Central, and Broadway. Some feel strongly about all of those issues. I guess I'd fall in that category. And then some people have other reasons that I haven't even mentioned. The people who signed the petition represent a cross-section of the community. There are people on that petition that signed the petition who are community leaders. There are people who are business owners in the community. There is a cross-section, there are white-collar workers and blue-collar workers that signed the petition. There are retirees who signed the petition. There are homemakers who signed the petition. And given more time, it's likely many more signatures could have been obtained. The statutory requirements for the process were very cumbersome, and circulating the petition made it difficult for the volunteers that were working to get the signatures. Otherwise, I think many more would have signed the petition. If you haven't already had the opportunity or taken the time to read some of the names who signed the petition, I'd encourage you to do so. The people that signed the petition are your friends and neighbors. You know, they're not just people out there. They're people that you know. They're your friends and they're your neighbors. In my opinion, a large number probably voted to elect the elected officials in this room here tonight. I suspect that that's probably true. The use of the initiative petition process is extremely rare in Monett. Murray, I think, pointed out one other occurrence that happened. I don't know that there were any others. So it's a rare occasion that this process has occurred. Typically, Monett citizens support new projects. I could sit here and list them all, but I'm limited in time, but you know that they supported overpasses over Eisenhower, Kyler, 37 Highway. They're going to support a new overpass on Chapel Drive. They support new projects. And rarely do you hear people speak in opposition to things, progressive projects that the city wants to do. This particular one is different. People are simply requesting that they be given a chance to decide the issue by ballot. And so that's my comments for tonight. Thank you again.
Thanks, Mike.
So much.
Anyone else like to comment from the audience?
Gentleman in the front.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson.
My name's Vernon Williams. I live at 423 West Nelly. Sorry. I'm bad at technology except for damaging it. Hey, I was one of the people, my wife and I went around and helped select signatures. We talked to about 70 people. Of those 70 people, one was for the roundabout. That individual seemed very well informed and considered it idiocy not to put it in. About 9 people didn't care. They just, whatever you want to do, we're fine with it. But 60 people out of 70 were adamantly against the project for one reason or another. And so I would encourage the council to consider that. The new members of the council and mayor that are here are not here because of competency or care. And the people that I've talked to, the former members, were considered intelligent, caring people. I believe that the new members are here because of agreeability, not competency. It's the hope of the public that the new administration will be attentive to the will of the people. And this is kind of the first test of it. Based on everything that I've seen and heard, the will of the people is to not go through with the roundabout, willing to accept the costs of not going through with it, because there will be costs of shutting it down. The benefit financially of shutting it down is greater than the cost. So that's, I think, where we're at. I would just encourage the council to go with the will of the people. And if I had found 30 people that were for it, I would have been stunned. But folks, one person out of 70. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Jerry Courtney?
Hello, my name's Joey Coatney. I run a business down there on Broadway and Central, 106 West Broadway. I want to make the point right off. I was never approached with this petition they were talking about. I never seen it. And it looks like they would have brought it to the businessman down there. Maybe they knew I was for the roundabout. I don't know. And they just never thought of it. But they could at least have the respect to do that. Now, I want to tell a story. I'm going to move around a lot and I'm going to get loud. I want to tell a story of what recently happened down there. This car was coming around and this other car was at the stop sign. The car came like this, got hit him so hard it knocked him down in the Mexican grocery store's parking lot. So I go out there, I heard it, I was inside my bay. I stepped out. I said, what happened? My customers told me that one got hit by that one. So I go, I said, are you okay? She says, yeah, I'm fine, I'm just shaken up. I said, okay, good, I'm gonna go check on them. I said, I'm gonna go check on them. So I went down there, and there's no other couple down there. And I got to the intersection, and I looked to cross, semi coming at me. I looked back, the older gentleman wandered out in the street, was picking debris up out of the street. Semi could not see him bent over. Okay, I was watching the semi, and all of a sudden the guy stood up and he took a step forward, and I just bellowed. I said, "Stop!" And it froze him. It scared him that bad.
Okay.
And when he stopped, he could have touched that semi truck. It was that close to a fatality right there. And this is what we got to keep in consideration. There's going to be somebody that gets hurt there, and there's going to be fatalities eventually. My sister was almost killed there at one time. And it was because of that intersection, they changed it. We asked them, please do not do this. You're making a straight shot into us from Broadway. Guy came up Broadway, excess 90 miles an hour, crushed my sister from the waist down. I came up on that. I seen that. I have photographic memory from that day. I got there. I asked the fire chief. I said, what can I do? He said, are you pump stop? I said, yes. He said, go make sure. So I went back there and made sure. Came back up. I said, now what? He said, have you got something to cut battery cables off? We got fuel everywhere. We don't want nothing to spark. I said, yeah, I got my bolt cutters. Went got them, started cutting battery cables. I said, I put my cutters up. I said, now what? He said, well, you ready for this? And I said, no, what? Your sister's under them cars. Start helping dig. I helped dig my sister out from under that. Now, if that ain't dangerous, I don't know what is. Thank you for your time. Right. Keep all that in your consideration when you decide.
Hey, Debbie, you want to come up to the mic?
Well, I'm usually known for knowing how everything works with the city, because I've studied it for a long time. But I guess I'm at a loss as to why we're really here tonight, because from what I understand, you guys have received a petition signed by several people, and I assume that it was legal. Was there anything illegal about that? About the petition?
No.
Did it have enough signatures on
We
it?
did. We'll talk about that here in a second. Yes.
Okay. So I guess my whole question is, why are we here to decide whether or not to accept the petition or go ahead with the program, when the petition says what the people want? So, I don't understand why we're having to decide anything when we've already proven that enough people have signed that petition and said that they don't want it. I do agree that there needs to be some more signs put up, if something is done at that corner rather than a roundabout. But that can be done. It used to be done. It was there before the signs were. And they can be put right back where they used to be. And it was enough to keep people safe. And some of those signs have been knocked down since then, just like one by one. You go to that intersection and you find it, things change. But as long as we're here, I signed a petition, and I'm just wondering how come it's being questioned now, or if it is being questioned, because if it was legal and it had enough signatures on it, then why don't you have to go with what the people said? And why do you have to decide whether or not the petition is enough? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else want to come up and speak?
Am I allowed to ask questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How is this going to affect future projects with MoDOT?
Remember, this is not a hearing, okay? It's notwithstanding.
I just want to be educated.
Okay.
I'm curious.
We will answer, the hearings where you ask and answer questions. This is a city council meeting that does business. Does that mean we can't answer your questions? We will. It's just we're going to get through the business tonight, and we will continue to take requests for information on this project after we decide what we're going to do tonight. Okay? All right, will the clerk read the petition or the ordinance? This ordinance that she's going to read is the exact wording that's in the petition that we're talking about tonight. So go ahead.
I've already read it.
Well, you have?
Again.
Oh, no, please don't. I don't think we needed to read it if we've already read it. Did I miss that?
She did second reading of the title, unless you want the entire ordinance in its entirety read.
Is it okay if we don't read the entire thing for everyone out there? It's a lot of whereas, and this is probably the biggest project that Monett has taken about 40 years. It's probably last time we did something like this was the Centennial Bridge. So there's a lot at stake for Monett. Now, I'm not a big fan of a roundabout, and even less so of eminent domain. When I first announced my candidacy for mayor, I was approached by many of you who were in the room tonight asking me to stop the roundabout. Knowing the city was 9 years into the project and having some experience with the way the federal government plans and executes big projects, I told you that I thought it was too late to stop it, and I still do. The city has already spent $1 million in engineering and utility work. You might remember that when Central was blocked for a week or so this past winter. MoDOT has already got $2 million programmed for the project. I've read your petition. I agree that that during that cold January day when we were supposed to have a hearing and when the public questions weren't answered, that was pretty bad. Even the federal highway posed questions about the conduct of that hearing. And I wonder, that had not happened, if we would be here tonight. I'm particularly concerned with the wording of the petition as it prohibits a roundabout and the use of eminent domain, if necessary, for acquiring adjacent property now, but more importantly, in the future. which means whatever we have now, we cannot ever do. Future councils and future generations of Monett are going to be bound by this ordinance at that intersection right there. Now, this binds future council people Monett to what I feel is going to be the status quo at Central Broadway, which in my opinion has been awkward and in some cases dangerous for a long time. I can remember riding my bike through that intersection when I was 15, when I was pulling milk for Moss Market. It was awkward then and it's still awkward now. Now the ordinance we're considering is word for word from the petition that was submitted to City Hall on the 13th of May. In accordance with state law, the city clerk had 10 days to verify that those on the petition were registered voters in Monett. The required number was 287. We have 391. She worked with both Berry and Lawrence County clerks to do so. By state law, the council had 20 days to act on that petition. That clock runs out tomorrow, and that's why we're conducting the city council meeting tonight instead of the normal Thursday, second Thursday of the month. Now, the Central Avenue project isn't just about the roundabout. It includes widening Central, 1 foot in each lane, new curbs and sidewalks. At one time, these might have been separate projects, but now they are inextricably linked, contractually and fiscally, in partnership with MoDOT. If we stop the roundabout, we'll likely use that project. And that's from Broadway all the way up to Cleveland. We'll have to stop our partnership with MoDOT. We'll have to get out of the contract that we're in, and then we'll have to renegotiate the contract. Let's look at this from a MoDOT perspective. The city, not MoDOT, initiated this project in 2015, and Monett voters gave it a green light. Later, Monett voters again agreed by ballot to extend the tax for the project. If we drop out at the 11th hour, Monett will be viewed as higher risk by both MoDOT and the federal government for big projects in the future. Monett's wishes will become lower priority for both the federal government and MoDOT. Right now, we cost share with MoDOT on several projects. One's the Chapel Hill project to the tune of about $5 million. I think that's mostly federal money. And also for the replacement of sidewalks in the center of the city. I don't see any risks of those projects because they're well into the planning phases. Eminent domain should always be used as a last resort and only in those instances in which it serves the common good. Regardless of my objective to stopping the project, this is a choice for the people of Monett. We started this project by ballot, and Monett voters have a right to stop the project by ballot. I recommend that this petition, unaltered, which is required by state law, be sent to the clerks of Berry and Lawrence County requesting a special election with this petition on the ballot. Commissioner.
Thank you all. My name is Darren and Davina. Thank you all. I'm on the side of change. I really am. I'm looking forward to sitting in this seat. Thanks to y'all who put us up in these seats here tonight to do things and look forward at making Monett pride and progress, simply put. We have a lot of homework that we have been doing in council meetings and sessions, and a lot of readings and a lot of lawyers are involved. It's been a learning experience. It truly has, and I've learned tons of all this. I am always on the side of change. I am looking to see if the city would get behind this ballot initiative and create that ballot in November, which is the ballot that will definitely decide the fate or future of the Central Avenue project. I am absolutely on your side for wanting this election. I really sit here because of the people. I want to work for the people. And I think moving forward, we want to give this project its due diligence without looking back at the past and whoever sat on the boards and asked the questions in prior years coming up to tonight. Tonight's new. We now have a ballot initiative. We got the signatures they were required. We changed the date before we went outside of our 20-day space of answering the ballot initiative and held this meeting as the mayor just pointed out. It's very, very important that we're here tonight. So by the people, for the people is always number one. If you want to have this ballot initiative and vote on it in November, so be it. I'm 100% behind that idea, and I hope that we can get those people to vote in November. Thank you.
The words I want to say are going to be both my personal and my professional opinion. First and foremost, I did attend the public hearings that took place 9 years ago. I was in support of the project then, still today. The project for me is a lot more than just the roundabout interchange. In fact, it's not about the roundabout interchange for me. Central Avenue, we all know, is a narrow road, needs to be widened. Does not have adequate sidewalks, needs sidewalks. Doesn't have adequate lighting, needs adequate lighting. Chief among all of those things is the stormwater situation that we have under Central Avenue. There's a section of Central Avenue that has, I'm going to guess, nearly 100-year-old architecture. And at some point, I'll say the construction of the viaduct, the waterway, was simply stones and mortar. Not a concrete pipe like you would see today, or not even a composite type pipe you would see today. The roundabout, just one small part of the entire project, seems to be the item that has gotten the most attention for whatever reason. The people of the community have spoken through the petition process. I highly respect that. It is utilizing the freedoms that we have in this country. Just know that this commissioner does not fault anyone who has signed that petition for their opinion. I absolutely respect it and treasure it. What the council is here to do tonight is to vote on whether that ordinance is accepted in its entirety by the council. If not, then there's other recourses that need to take place. I think you might have heard some of them spoken here just a little bit ago. So that's the purpose of, I think, for you all to be here tonight, is to witness the vote that this council will take for that petition's language. A yes vote adopts it in its entirety as it is and becomes city law. A no vote says it is not adopted into city code, but there's additional recourse that the petition does then afford us. So that's the purpose of this meeting and this agenda item. Again, I respect everybody who participated in the petition, both as volunteers or as signees, and even those who chose not to sign. I appreciate everyone's opinion, and I certainly do appreciate your attendance here tonight. So thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion on the ordinance?
And remind me the bill numbers at 9014.
It's
Yes.
9014.
I'll move that we approve bill number 9014.
So in approving this, we say yes, we agree to the ordinance?
Correct.
I second.
Call a roll?
Mayor Randy Burke,
No.
Commissioner Darren Indovino,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar.
No.
Okay, the ordinance was not passed by the city council. So next we must decide what to do next. Do I have any motions from the commissioners?
I'm not sure one is required.
Well, there may not be one required, so we're just following state law and passing the bill to the clerks to be put on the ballot, are we not?
So that, if you would, by the end of the day tomorrow, I'll need direction from the council on how you would like me to proceed. You could certainly provide that direction now. Would you like to go ahead and direct me to order or request of the county clerks a special election? In which case, I will have City Clerk Irwin reach out to both the county clerks of Berry and Lawrence County, formally requesting a special election within 90 days to have a election on this ordinance. So that's essentially the way the statute reads, this would be the recourse we would have. The alternative would be as if, Ms. Shane brought up earlier, if there was a belief that the ordinance is illegal by some reason, if we wanted to legally challenge that essentially, then we would have the opportunity to say we're not going to take it to, we're not going to put it on the ballot. But that would be your direction as the city council on how you would like me to proceed.
Well, I move that this petition, unaltered, which is required by state law, be sent to the clerks of Berry and Lawrence County requesting a special election with this petition on the ballot.
Okay. Do you have a second?
Is this election special election or November election general?
So city code would require that we have it within 90 days. So I do know that there could be a challenge for the county clerks to have a special election within that 90-day time period. I believe it was recently published in the newspaper that we were looking at that, and so there was questions about what that process would look like.
Just so everyone understands, there is a 90-day requirement. That's a Monett ordinance, and it was written when Monett ran their own elections. We don't do that anymore. That's why we have to submit it to the county.
Correct. So the city no longer runs its own elections. We don't have the authority to call an election. We have to request an election from the county clerks. And so we can formally request a special election within 90 days. They do have the ability to reject us, in which case they would my expectation would be that we be placed on the November ballot. But I believe the proper process would be that we formally request a special election because that is compliant with our city code. And if they tell us they can't do it, then we'll work with what they can do, but hopefully they'll be able to work with us and do it within our code's parameters.
There's no stopping it from the November election, as it may be stopped in the 90-day special election request.
Right, we would definitely meet the timeline to be on the November ballot if we were to, if the 90-day time frame did not work, we certainly could make the November ballot. But hopefully they could work with us and make the 90 days work. But given it's a presidential election year, I imagine, I've never ran elections, but I imagine that there will be a lot of work that they're going to be doing between the primary in August and the general in November. So to expect them to be able to make that accommodation for us, I'm not comfortable saying that I can guarantee that they'll meet that request.
What's the difference in sooner than later? And it's only three months difference. Yeah, 3 months difference from August through November. And we're going to try to push the election till in 90 days, which is thinking in my mind, August, right? Or September. September.
Well, the biggest thing for us, the reason is just that's what our city code says. Frankly, I think that it would be in our best interest to go ahead and remove that section of our city code. So that way it's just when we have something to place on the ballot, like if this process happens again, then it's just whenever the county clerk can get us on the ballot as soon as possible, whether that's April, August, November. That way we eliminate the 90-day request provision. But that would be my recommendation for the future. For right now, I would say if desired, as that path that we request of the clerks to try and make that 90-day time frame, because I always recommend that we at least attempt to stay within our law and follow our own law, but I can't guarantee they can meet that. The state statute does not provide that 90-day limit. Only the city's code provides for that 90-day restriction.
So we have two options. That's the clerks put it on the ballot or a legal challenge. Is that correct?
Correct.
Does that legal challenge go away if we just keep it in the November election? Trying to get it sooner.
I believe if we place it on the ballot, I believe that the city would still have an opportunity at some point down the road if we felt as if there are provisions of this that unconstitutionally tie our hands. Mayor Burke, you referenced that you felt like you had concerns about the tying future council's hands and prohibiting them from making transportation improvements in the future. I think that there would be a constitutional argument there that could be made. And so there could be an opportunity for the council, if so desired, if the election passed, that you could seek legal recourse, but that's if you decided to go down that path.
I've already made the motion, I'll put it on the ballot.
Do we have a second?
Did you
To
not?
put it on a special election ballot or a November ballot, or just a ballot in general?
If I recall the motion, Mayor Burke moved to request the county clerks to hold a special election within 90 days. To
Good,
put this,
then I'll second that motion, get it, because I'm sure a lot of people and myself and others believe this has been stagnant for too long, so let's move forward with special election.
You know, I gotta say, he's framing it in a way that's gonna get it turned down. The state statute just says place it on the ballot. It's the city ordinance that requires the 90 days. He's already pointed out that the city ordinance has been preempted by state statute. So the way it's being framed within 90 days, he's trying to ensure that it gets kicked out on that basis. I think if you just say, put it on the ballot.
I disagree. He stated that he's gonna contact the county clerks in both Barry and Lawrence County
He's already,
to request.
he's already commented
Excuse me.
in Monett Times.
Excuse me a
that
moment.
The county clerks are the election authority.
Excuse me a moment.
Just turn it over to them and allow.
So
them
what
to determine the
Mr.
date.
Weiner said was that he would approach the county clerks in both Barry and Lawrence County requesting the special election. We cannot anticipate what the county clerks for Barry and Lawrence County are going to respond. We will take their response and move forward appropriately. If they cannot accommodate a special election within the 90 days, then we will find out when the next valid election cycle we can have the item on. There is no attempt here to play smoke and mirrors. There's none. This is completely transparent, completely above board, and completely legal.
Okay, a motion.
There's a motion on the floor and a
Motion and
second.
a second. Let's call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Darren DeVito,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gasper.
Aye.
we will contact the county clerks and make formal request to hold a special election for the initiative petition ordinance within 90 days.
I believe we are providing exactly what everybody in this room wants. I see a lot of nodding heads earlier. This is going to go to the vote of the people, and we will respect whatever that result is. Both us and
I apologize if through my explanation, was a little bit unclear. I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood. We will request that of the county commission or the county clerks. They are the election authorities, and hopefully they can accommodate that request. Next item on the agenda is the monthly departmental reports, just informational items. I didn't know if you had any questions, comments on monthly reports. We do have some department heads in attendance here this evening, as well as the next council meeting. Assuming that we have no.
Do we have the monthly financial reports?
I mentioned at our last meeting that we're going to move the monthly financial presentation to the work session each month. So presented that at the June 4th work session. Just from a timing perspective, something that I felt like was going to be able to better articulate our financials. If you would like to go over those again for the general public's evening opportunity to understand, I'm certainly happy to do that as well. But
what I'd like to do is get it in the packet so the public can look at the financials. I don't know that we get that out to the public when we do it in a working session or something outside of this format.
Okay.
One question for the next time is how much did we spend in the storm? How much did that cost us?
Okay. And, yeah, I'm not sure of the total number at the moment, but I will get that number for next meeting.
Chris, I think we all had turned numbers into Kelly for emergency management, so there should be some kind of rough numbers anyway.
Right. We have the numbers, I just don't have them compiled off the top of my head to be able to provide some. As well.
I move that we adjourn.
There were a couple other informational items here. I didn't know if there's any further discussion on.
I move we table those. I think we've covered enough ground tonight.
Okay.
Have a move to adjourn. Second. I second the motion to adjourn. Roll call.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Darren Indovino,
Yes.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar.
Aye.
Our next regular council meeting will be second Thursday in July 11th. In this room, this is our new meeting room, moving forward to further notice. And we'll be here July 11th at 6 p.m., second Thursday, moving forward. And we'll get those budget process information at our next meeting. Thank you all.
And last.